Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to TED Talks Ball. Actually, it's a little bit before noon here on the West Coast, about 11:05 a.m. It makes it 2:05 Eastern. I've got the lovely Miss Ashley Baker here. Just realized that I don't have her banner set up yet, but I will do that momentarily. I'll try and do two things at once. But obviously, Ashley is a Cowboys expert. You may know her on Twitter at Ashley Baker _21. Also, she co-hosts the Sports After Dark with, boy, I'm blanking on everybody's name right this second. So if you could give me the details on that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Young Heavy is one. Obviously, he's been on the show before. And Mark, I blank on his last name, the Chiefs fan.
Gunnels.
Yes, I did do it. Yes. Feel a little bit better now. And I'm going to be futzing around a little bit here with getting this stuff all tweeted out and everything. But let me get the banner going first and make sure this looks good for you.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate for being here per usual. I'm excited to be here. As you mentioned, doing the Sports After Dark with Young Heavy, Mark Gunnels, and Chris Lewis.
I didn't know about Chris. So
yes, Chris Lewis.
Now.
So,
okay.
Yeah, Chris has been around since probably like last September.
Cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, yeah, it's been like a year with us. So absolutely. I'm ready. It is Cowboys 49ers week. This week 5 came very fast, in my opinion, but we here.
I agree. It's hard to believe that, almost a quarter of the NFL season is now behind us.
Yeah.
4 out of the 17 games. I guess not quite because it's an 18-week season with the buys. But boy, yeah, it has really flown by.
Very fast.
Really fast. And, we can do, full recaps of everything. I think, people will want to hear about, obviously the Patriots game, at least one record was set there. You guys handed Bill Belichick his worst loss of his coaching career.
29 years. Good
That is pretty impressive stuff. And, I'll say that I wasn't super surprised by that.
Okay.
I wasn't super surprised that you guys bounced back against the Patriots.
Right,
I guess that's a better way to put it. It's because basically I got into a lot of trouble last week for basically being a Cowboys. People thought I was being a Cowboys fan.
Oh.
Because here's the deal, Ash, I think you know me. I try to be pretty unbiased.
Yes.
And, I just want to tell the truth about NFL teams, whoever they are, whether I love them like the 49ers or they're one of my most hated teams like the Cowboys. I'm still going to be fair and unbiased as much as possible. And so, when you guys lost to the Cards, I was telling people like, hey, guys and folks, people, ladies and gentlemen, they were missing 80% of their O-line. And three of them are
ball.
3 of them are basically all pros.
Yeah.
And then also Diggs went down on a Thursday. That means you have basically one walkthrough to try and compensate for him being out. And so I was just like, I just didn't think it was representative of what the Patriots would see. And we sure saw that and what we will see this Sunday. And so people are like, oh, you're defending Dak and you don't defend Purdy.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like,
you don't defend Purdy?
No, well, I do. Well, I mean, I poke holes in a lot of stuff because, like, okay. I'm saying we 49ers, we haven't played a contender yet. And we don't even know if we've played a playoff team yet.
I'll say this is, in my opinion, I feel like the week starts now with both teams. Like the week starts this week with both teams. I've been saying that specifically definitely for Dallas. Like it starts now in week 5 because we have a hell of a stretch coming up. So that's just me. And, I don't know if you guys feel the same. Like,
I totally feel that way. I feel like the Steelers, I think they could have a pretty good D, but like Hayward went down in the first quarter against us. TJ Watt went bananas, and Minka's obviously Minka. But like Highsmith, he's good, but he's not like Micah or Bosa or TJ Watt or Myles Garrett, these top edge players. And I feel like, I said to somebody, I got into trouble with a 49ers fan who is female. And, she was saying about how great it was that we beat the Steelers. I'm like, okay, well, name a Steelers linebacker or a DB not named Minka. And they're like, "Oh my God, you're sexist, you're misogynist,
Oh
Ted." And I was like,
no. Oh,
"I just
no.
asked the dude the same question last night. Like, what the
Yeah.
heck is this?"
Oh
It's just
no.
something you do when you're trying to discredit the other team. You're like, "I bet you can't name a player without looking it up, because if they're good, you probably know their name off the top of your head, right?" Like TJ Watt or Highsmith or Hayward or Minka. Those guys, everybody knows those guys. So anyway, so like, and so I mean, and the Steelers obviously, they beat the Raiders, but then they've dropped their other two games. And the one they beat Jimmy G, good for good. Jimmy G is like leading the league with 6 interceptions in only 3 games. And I predicted that too, that he would be terrible once he left the 49ers.
I know y'all
Because
do not miss that at all.
no, not at all. Because we have the best group of weapons in football since we got CMC, and we got Kyle calling the plays, a decent O line. I mean, not anywhere near like the Cowboys or Eagles or Lions. Those are my top 3 O lines. Chiefs were kind of there, but they replaced their tackles, so I don't think they're in that top conversation anymore. Yeah. But anyway, so that's what's been going on with me a little bit recently. And everybody wants me to crown Purdy, and I'm just like, dude, like the game was great on Sunday. I mean, geez, he was 20 for 21. He threw some deep balls, a 34-yarder, a 42-yarder. I'm so excited. I am. But then I'm like saying the same thing with the Cards defense. Name me a Cards defender. And it's like, oh, well, Budda Baker. Oh, wait, he didn't play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then it's like, who else is there? I guess there's the Kaiser. Is it White or Elam? What's the guy's name who picked off Dak? They got a middle linebacker. Kaiser White, the middle linebacker. He was from the Eagles. Now he's a Card. Like, you could name him.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of his name.
There's nobody. There's nobody on that D. There's no pressure on Purdy. And so and there's going to be a ton this week, I think. Especially I was talking to Cowboys Greg yesterday, and he was saying that like your guys' D line is pretty much revamped now. You got Hankerson in there and Mozzie and Ogunbogi.
Odigizua.
Odigizua, sorry.
No. Yeah. Here's the thing. Who'd you have? You said Cowboys Greg on?
Yeah, Cowboys Greg yesterday. Yeah. He's great. I've had him on. This is my 3rd time I've had him on.
Yeah, our front is nasty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got like you mentioned, Hankerson, Odigizua, you got Micah, and you have D-Law rushing off the edge. So just in some preliminary film watching that I've done in regards, just kind of looking back on some of the things that were and were not successful the last time we played you guys. Obviously, pressure is something that we need to definitely be doing, and we need to get to Brock Purdy. We need to get to the quarterback. We need to force him into mistakes. We need to cause turnovers. And again, that front, our defense is so fast and they're flying all over the place. And obviously, it's day and night with this team when the defense is doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's day and night, and I'm okay with that because I've been waiting for a long time to be able to say, I think I said this the last time we were on, to be able to say that my defense is a top defense. So pressure, definitely getting pressure on the quarterback again, because that line is capable. That's something that I'm really looking forward to in this game, to see how our front kind of responds to that offensive line you guys have.
Well, yeah, you guys have Micah Parsons, who's right there, like I said, with Bosa, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt. You could make an argument for any of them any given week as who's the top edge. Then you obviously have DeMarcus Lawrence, who's been a long time top edge in the league. And then was it Sam Williams? Who's the rookie from last year who had like 8.5 sacks?
It's Sam Williams.
Sam Williams.
Yep. So
it's scary stuff. I think you guys have us whipped on both lines, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
I love Bosa. I love Armstead. I love Javon Hargrave. Great addition. I was saying all offseason I thought he could be our Charles Haley 2.0, but in a good way. Like how we lost him to you guys, and you guys won 3 out of 4 Super Bowls with Charles Haley. I think Hargrave could be our Eagles killer, the way he turned into a Niners killer for you guys. But the rest of our line, we lost so much depth on our edges with Ebukam, Amenahu, Willis. So our D-line, and Bosa's still, I think, playing himself back into shape after his holdout. He only practiced literally 2 practices before we opened the season against the Steelers.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about Nick.
Well, he's leading the league in pass rush win rate.
Pass rush. Okay.
And also in double and triple teams. So he's definitely showing up outside of the stat sheet. He has that 1 sack against Daniel Jones. It probably looked almost like a safety, but whatever. But he's getting held a lot, and I think that happens to Micah a lot too, where
For
they just
sure.
hold him.
That's when you're
arm
that
locks.
good, that's the only way they can stop you. They gotta hold you.
Yep.
And they're not gonna call a hold on every play because we would literally be sitting watching 8 hours of ball if they called a hold every play.
Yep.
But yeah, when you're that good, they're gonna hold you. That's what I've learned with Mike. I'm like, bro, he gets held every other snap. He's getting held. But what can you do? He's that good. It takes that to stop him.
They're game wreckers, and the NFL wants offense, so they're gonna turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah, for sure.
No doubt about it. Yeah, and so then, like, if we're just comparing teams, from last year to this year, some big things for us. I don't know if we talked in the offseason at all, but I was concerned about losing Jimmy Ward. So far, that is coming true. We picked up Isaiah Oliver from the Falcons. He's a good he's a good nickel, big nickel. He's good at runs fit and like with large tight ends or large slots.
But Jimmy Ward.
We did, yeah. He went to the Texans.
Yeah.
For about $6 or $7 million a year. So we've kind of turned into the Rams. What I used to make fun of the Rams for about not having any mid-level players, we're kind of that way now too because of Trent Williams, Kittle, Fred, now Bosa, Debo. We have all these super high-paid players, highest in their position group or close to it. Juice. I mean, who even pays a fullback? And we're paying ours $5 million average and annual value. We've lost some mid-level players like Jimmy Ward off the defense, Azeez Al-Shire, who is our strong side linebacker. He went to the Titans. Teams right now, there's a stat that came out today. Teams run on us the least of any defense.
Okay.
And they pass on us the most conversely, of any defense.
So you're telling me that your secondary is a bit suspect.
It is. I mean, we love Hufanga. He at one point had a 8 passer rating passing against him, but that's gone up. Gibson's good. Charvarius Ward's pretty good. They're all pretty good. It's just Ambry Thomas, I think, is the weak link in our secondary. When we slide Lenore into nickel and have Ambry Thomas on the boundary, I think that's someone that can be picked on.
When I was watching a little bit of film, I saw Lenore getting picked on with CeeDee Lamb.
Yes.
Yeah, with CeeDee working in that slot.
CeeDee went off in that divisional round.
For sure.
And that's why I was saying if Pollard didn't get hurt in that game, could have been a whole different game. Because you guys really didn't have an explosive playmaker. Like Dalton Schultz was like a fantasy guy, scored a lot of TDs.
Yeah.
But he's not like a guy who's going to like a game breaker that you could just get them the ball in space and he's going to beat a lot of people to get you into scoring position or cover up those big yards. Good possession receiver though. Got David McNiner in the house saying, what up, Ted and Ashley? Let's go.
What up, David?
Let's call out everybody who's here real quick. Jimmy Perez in the house saying, what's up?
What up,
Ted,
Jimmy?
Good morning, sir. Thank you, Jimmy. Got Alberto Soto. He says Brocktoberfest. It's that time of the month. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Yeah, there's all kinds of like Brockstar.
Brocktober is crazy.
Brock out with your Brock out. All kinds of stuff like that. Crazy.
Okay, I'm not mad at him.
And so I've gotten into trouble with Purdy because I'm sort of like the skeptic. The guy's like, I need to see more.
Yeah.
And
sound like my co-host.
You hate Brock. And I'm like, I don't. I like him a lot. What I hate is the hyperbole. I hate when people say he's better than Brady, he's better than Montana, better than Mahomes, Josh Allen. I'm just like, I
didn't even know people were saying that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, if you watch that Dolphins Bills game on Sunday, I tweeted out, I was like, Bills look like the best team in the NFL. Now they did lose Tre'Davious White, which is going to hurt them a lot.
Yeah,
I guess they are getting Von Miller, which could help. But
that's a big loss for Buffalo, man. That's a big.
He's one of the best corners in the league.
Yeah,
so
that's a huge loss for them.
I don't care. So. Yeah, I mean, because they already get decent pressure, so I don't think Von Miller's pressure is going to add enough to make up for that. But they looked, they look like they could have put up 60 on the Dolphins if they had needed to.
Yeah.
And they did 48 without too much trouble. Got Silly Fungi in the house. He's a Rams fan, but he's pretty cool. He always brings a dad joke. So here's his dad joke. He says, He says, if you ever get cold, stand in the corner of the room for a while. They're usually 90 degrees.
My goodness. That was actually really funny.
The other one was, I already forgot the word. No word in the English language has all the vowels in it in order. Someone said facetiously, because if you spell it facetious, A-E-I-O-U, and then Y at the end, sometimes Y at the end.
Sometimes Y.
Yeah, facetiously
Facetiously.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But thanks to Fungi. And then David McNiner in the house, he has his own YouTube channel as well. Make sure everybody checks that out. Say what up, Ted and Ashley. That's where we started. But that was actually the last one chronologically. So yeah, I mean, a lot to go over here. Greg was telling me that you guys, your offensive line, this might be the first time that all these 5 guys have ever played together. Is that right?
Have never played together?
They've never played together. Like, this might be the first time.
Who is he talking about?
They played together like on the same line, but not all 5 of them have been there because they've all, one or more, have been injured the whole time.
So from what I don't think Tyron is going to be a go this week. Okay,
that's too bad.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, it's good news for us, but I never root for injuries.
Yeah, I'm going based off of what Jerry Jones kind of said this morning, which that he was kind of iffy on Tyron. Okay. So,
and that was yesterday. So maybe Greg didn't know that yet yesterday.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go with obviously Biotish, Zach Martin, Terrence Steele, Tyler Smith, and Chima,
who just was one of the highest rated,
the highest rated for the week. Yeah, that interior offense was insane. Like he definitely did his thing on the side of things.
There were 2 Cowboys on the list.
Dak is the other.
Was it Dak? Okay. 90. Yeah, Dak 90. Yeah, Dak. Tyler Smith was the highest rated offensive player for week 4, 93.7. Then BA, Brandon Ayuk, right behind him, 93.4. Yep. Nico Collins for the Texans, 93.3. Josh Allen, 91.1.
Christian McCaffrey's on there.
There you go. Yep, 91. Yep. Dalton Schultz, we were just talking about him, former Cowboy, 90.6. Trent Williams, our left tackle, 90.1. Dak, 90. Derrick Henry, 89.8. No shocker there. Stephon Diggs, 89.8.
Yeah. So it'll be the same offensive line that we had this past week.
And it was interesting to me, too, that when you look at those players on there, the 3 49ers, 2 Bills, and 2 Cowboys, and I'll leave the other two teams off because it doesn't fit my narrative. But but there were a couple of top lists that came out, and I put Niners first, Bills second, Cowboys third on my list, and there you go.
On your ranking?
Yeah, on my ranking.
Yeah,
a lot of people have the Niners first this week.
A lot of people still putting the Eagles up there in the top 3.
No, I don't think the Eagles are as good as y'all, and I don't think that we're as good as the Bills if they had Trey White, but they don't. So
we're still taking into account that as ugly as the games have been that Philly has played, they're still 4-0.
Yeah, they are. But
you have to. That speaks to something. Like, I'm big on. I don't care, win the game. Find a way to win the game. It can be ugly. Just find a way to win the game. And so I can't really knock the fact that you're 4-0. Yeah, that was a bad game against the Commanders. It's a division game. The Commanders always play them tough, fine. But for me, it's 49ers, Bills, Eagles, Cowboys.
Okay.
And if you want to be honest, like up to this point, I could put the Lions or the Dolphins or we're just talking about up to this point. There's a couple of other teams I can put in there that are not the Chiefs, by the way.
No, me too. You want me to read my list real quick? And want to read what I've been putting out there? I've done it a couple times because there was a PFF list, a PFF meme that I posted, and then there was an ESPN NFL stats, ESPN power rankings that I quote tweeted. But it's the same. I did the same ranking on both. I said 49ers 1, Bills 2, Cowboys 3, Eagles 4. I said Seahawks 5, which might be a little high. Ravens 6, Chiefs 7, Lions 8.
I
Dolphins
have the Chiefs 9. At about 6 or 7 as well.
Yeah,
Dolphins
sure.
They haven't
9.
Played well. They haven't played
Jags
well. People want to
10,
throw them in there because
11.
they have the best quarterback and they have the best tight end in the game, and I completely understand that. But we got to what's right.
That's all they got.
Right. They haven't played
on offense. Their defense is pretty good, though. That's the funny
defense
thing
has
about the
been
Chiefs.
great. Good. I've seen that. I
Chiefs,
have
once
seen
they
that.
got Chris Jones back.
Yeah, for sure. They
He's
knew
a
to
monster.
get Chris Jones back.
He's an absolute monster.
Yeah, he is.
And I'm sure Mark Gunnels talks about all that stuff.
Oh,
too,
yeah,
so.
absolutely. Well, Mark Gunnels thinks that the Chiefs should be at 3 and not the Eagles. Yeah, he's,
Well, I mean, I think that's where let me see, that's where ESPN had them at 4 and PFF had them at 3. Yeah.
I mean, they haven't played better ball than Detroit up to this point. I don't think that they played better ball than the Dolphins up to this point. They haven't played better ball than those teams. They haven't played better ball than us up to this point. And again, I know that there are a couple folks that had us like ranked 4 or 5. I'm like, okay. I mean, just
I got you guys 3. I'm a little more bullish on the Cowboys than you are.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just that conversation with Greg yesterday. He scared me. And maybe Tyron Smith, if he's not in, maybe that makes the difference. I don't know. But
how are you feeling? You guys
still have a hell of a no line even without him.
How are you feeling about this game?
Nervous as hell.
Yeah, me too.
Nervous as hell.
I'm nervous. I haven't done it. I'm going to watch some film later this evening. But I really want to find, and you've kind of given me a hint, and I kind of knew this because again I'm in constant talk with Young Heavy, but I'm really trying to find a weakness that we can exploit. You know what I mean? Like that we could take advantage of. Like I know the secondary you mentioned, we could kind of target some spots there. But I need to take a look at my team and see exactly how we do that. So I'm telling you, I'm like tunnel vision. I'm ready to go. But this is going to be a good one, man. Again, the season starts right here.
No doubt. I'll get back to that in just a second. Remind me if I get distracted.
Yeah.
Okay, Alberto is saying, okay, Ted, let me ask you this. Agree, both teams haven't played a good team, but that said, how do we really know Dallas defense is legit? Give the same praise to Dallas D as you give to Purdy. Well, because Dallas D is the same D we played last season, except for they're just missing Diggs, and they've added a bunch of good new talent, including Mozzie and Hankerson, and I think the O player, Ogunbazi? Odigizua. He was there last year. Right?
Just call him Osa.
Osa. He is more of a pass rushing defensive tackle, but I just feel like they've added a bunch of stuff. I think Deron Bland has gotten better. And they added Gilmore. Hello, Stephon Gilmore, who's a hell of a corner. He's 33, but he's still a hell of a corner. So that's why, Alberto, it has nothing to do really with this season. It just has to do with last season, and no changes negative that I see, and some positive changes that I see. Well, Diggs.
And to Alberto, to answer that question, we could say the same thing about y'all's defense.
Well, no, and we could say our defense is not as good because
y'all haven't played anybody, right? But we're going to go based off
Giants' offense is anemic.
Exactly.
So is Pittsburgh's offense. The Rams is okay, but they have is Puka Nacua.
Exactly. So that's the thing. That's why I'm saying that the season starts now for us specifically, because I don't know what y'all's next 4 games look like, but our next 4 games can give us hell. Y'all's.
Ours is really tough. We got you guys here in week 5. Then we got the Browns. I guess that depends if Deshaun Watson is back or not. But if he is, their defense is playing well.
For sure.
We got the Vikings. Obviously their defense is a little questionable. But if their defense, we got the Bengals, which so far they've looked pretty iffy. But by then, I bet they're playing. They were one of the teams I circled. They're the 3 teams I circled before this season that I'm like, these are our defining games of the season: Cowboys, Bengals, and Eagles, and maybe Ravens. Christmas Day, Ravens are playing well, and I thought they might. But yeah, so then we got Bengals, then we got our bye, but then we got a really tough one. We got Jags, Bucks, Seahawks, Eagles, Seahawks.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough stretch. So that's what I mean. Like everything starts now. If is our defense going to be able to hold y'all under 30 points? Y'all are averaging 30 points a game this season. You know what I mean? So we're
not going to score 30 on you guys.
Yeah. I don't. To be honest, this better be a defensive game.
Yeah. Greg said 24-21 Cowboys. I said, all right, I'll flip it. I'll say 24-21 Niners. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's more like 21-17.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's somewhere like maybe 27-24. Either way, I don't. Yeah. I'm gonna roll with the Cowboys 27-24. Okay.
There you go.
But it's going to be good. There's a couple of things. Again, I'm trying to just figure out like what ways that we can like capitalize on whatever weaknesses you have. And I was in my car this morning, and kind of going through you guys's weapons, Ted. And you know what stuck out to me in the car before I started watching film this morning?
Yeah.
Before I got back, I thought to myself, all right, they got Christian McCaffrey. They got Debo. They got Ayuk. Oh, by the way, George Kittle, who has been very, very quiet. Quiet. If I can recall, this is me in the car this morning. If I can recall, he did a number on us last season.
That circus catch.
Yeah, he did a crazy number. I watched the film. Lo and behold, there he is eating up the middle. And so I'm expecting the guy that we say does a relatively good job in containing tight ends, Javon Curse. I'm expecting him to show up because I believe that Kyle Shanahan, because we did a pretty good job at containing Christian McCaffrey last year. You know what I'm saying? We did a pretty good job in general. I watched the game. I rewatched the game today, and I'm like, okay, defensively, what did we give up? 19 points?
Yeah.
We didn't give up 20 points. So we can, and Debo was healthy. Debo is not 100% this game. Debo was healthy. I don't think Ayuk is 100%. He's playing and he looked good, but he ain't 100%.
He had a career game, 148 yards.
Yeah, for sure. We were still able to contain last year. It's just the difference maker happened to be George Kittle, man. And of course, Dallas had some things that we did that shot ourselves in the foot. Dak with those 2 interceptions. You know what I'm saying? We beat ourselves a lot of that game, but
part of it was he was pressing once Pollard went down. You know,
I saw him press with that. I saw him press with that interception in the first quarter with 5 minutes left.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. You're
he
right.
Threw that ball when the defender ran the route for Michael Gallup, and he still decided to throw the ball. And then the second one was him trying to squeeze a ball into under Fred Warner, and I think over. Who else was sitting there with Fred Warner? I was so upset. He tried to squeeze it into CeeDee Lamb. I was mad again watching it this morning. I was pissed. I was so upset. I'm like, why do you don't do that? You got to watch that. So, brought up some memories this morning. But I think if I have to put my money on it, I think that Kyle Shanahan is going to circle this to be a George Kittle game.
I sure hope so. He's my favorite player. So
yeah. I think that this might be a Kittle game.
He's definitely due. No doubt about that. Alberto says this same Purdy that beat Dallas in playoffs is why I agree with you about us not playing a legit team. This is a game to test each team. Absolutely. This is really the first legit game for both teams this season. Now, you wanted to know about our weaknesses. I mean, I talked about them all off season. Right tackle, we have McKivitz playing for McGlinchey, who McGlinchey was never a great pass blocker, but he was a really good run blocker. And then one that doesn't show up very, very well because Burford was supposedly our starter last year, but we were platooning Daniel Brunskill in with him at right guard. And Daniel Brunskill is now a Tennessee Titan. And so Burford, who's a second-year player out of UTSA, is now full-time right guard. He's been struggling. Nickel corner has been struggling. Ambry Thomas at boundary corner has been struggling. Those are the weakness areas on this team. Weapons, there's no weakness in our weapons. I mean, like I said, we have the best group of weapons in football, pretty prohibitively. I mean, assuming that Debo's healthy, and I think he will be for this game. The one thing about Debo,
I think that's why y'all kind of took a light on him last week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was a decoy. He was just a decoy.
For sure.
Yeah.
Decoy for sure. Yeah.
No, but the thing was in 2022, last year, he was never quite in shape from him holding in for his contract negotiation right before the beginning of the season. And so this season, he's been in better shape. So even if he's only 90% healthy, he's 100% shape. And so he might actually be better than what you saw last year. But yeah, he definitely didn't look right against the Cards at all. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Real quick, this one.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was just going to call it Rod Cali in the house.
What up, Rod?
He does great things with Gina V. They do the Sports Laugh and Chill podcast. Awesome folks. Everybody make sure you check them out. We got Frank Tom Ocean in the house saying, yo, Ted, what's up? FTO. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Doing better now that you guys are here. Absolutely. Thanks for joining. So sorry, you were going to say something. I cut you off.
I don't remember. No. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I 100% agree. Best weapons in the league. Hard to find. You just don't know. It's that y'all are really the definition of a pick your poison. Like,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Again, I still, based on what my defense did last year, again, we did a pretty good job of containing. And I'm just looking back at that. That's a winnable game by Dallas. It's a winnable game.
Yes, absolutely.
Dak can't throw those interceptions.
I mean, there's three things that pivot that game to me, right? I mentioned, obviously Pollard goes down in the first half.
Yes.
That's big. Kittle makes a circus catch. If he doesn't, who knows? And the other one was Diggs dropping the interception. If he doesn't, who knows? So three things could easily swung that game in my mind.
Yeah. Again, it's relatively the same two teams matching up. Again, minus Stephon Diggs. You guys don't have
Trayvon Diggs.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Good Lord, Stephon. We want you, Stephon. Come on to Dallas. You know what I'm saying? You can feel free to slide on next year. You know.
Damn, he was good in that game.
They're playing pretty good in Buffalo right now. But yeah, so again, it's kind of the same.
He made people say "Co who?" I had to go there.
So I like again, we did a pretty good job at containing Christian McCaffrey. My fear is that, okay, if he doesn't get off in the run game, then he'll get off in the intermediate game, the passing game. And he didn't do much of that last year either. So listen, I trust Dan Quinn with my defense's life. I really do. Dan Quinn is a hell of a defensive coordinator. I expect my defense to come out fast. It was a lot of this is one thing that I watched on film, and Young Heavy actually had to tell me as well. I don't expect Micah Parsons to line up on the same side as Trent Williams. He's going to come on that right side that you guys have a suspect player on. So where Mike McGlinchey was, that player that you just mentioned that y'all replaced Mike Glinchey, I think that Micah is going to come off that edge a lot to pressure and get to Brock Purdy. Now, you had Odigizua that was getting to Purdy last year and causing some pressure, and obviously DeMarcus Lawrence was causing some pressure last year as well. But Micah was fighting a little bit for, Trent Williams. Come on now. It's Trent Williams. He's going to fight against Trent Williams, going to hold his own. But to again, being able to move Micah around in so many different spots, him just being that, that versatile as a player, I think he's going to come off of that other side. And if he comes off of that other side, he is going to give Brock Purdy problems. Do you hear me, faithful? Y'all better find a way to stop number 11, because he's not going to be on Trent Williams' side. He's not going to be there. So, yeah. I expect I expect my defense to do what they've been doing in the wins, is to create turnovers and score off of those turnovers. I 100%. A pick is coming. A pick is coming for Brock Purdy. Do y'all hear me? I don't know if it's going to be a pick six, but a pick is coming. And if there's any defense that's capable of picking Brock off, it's this defense. That's all I'm saying. Again, he almost threw a pick last year. Trayvon on rehab last year. We'll see.
I agree with everything you said, especially when you look at week one for us against the Steelers and TJ Watt, who's the only legitimate edge we faced all year. He had 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He was a literal game wrecker. Luckily, he was the only one who showed up. Like, the Steelers were so bad that day that Mike Tomlin said, everyone on the team should give their game checks to TJ Watt, because he's the only one who showed up to play.
I didn't know he said that.
He did say that. And because they were awful. Their offense was awful. Their offense has been awful the whole season, but their defense was terrible. And I mean, and now look at them against the Texans. They score a
respect
touchdown and give up 30 against the Texans. I mean, come on.
Respect.
They're not a good team,
I thought that y'all were going to lose that game, Ted. I didn't pick y'all to lose that Steelers game, but I felt like maybe something was cooking in the air. And you guys typically, for the last couple of years, have gotten off to slower starts in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And y'all have lost games that you should have won.
Yeah, 3-5 to start 2021, 3-4 to start 2022. It was a huge concern starting at Heinz Field or Acrisure or whatever the hell they're calling that Three Rivers Stadium now. But yeah,
if we start off slow, I thought that was going to happen with the Steelers, and y'all reminded us of who the Steelers
15-1 in their last 16 openers. So yeah, and we're this notoriously slow starting team. But the one thing I did say before the game was all these slow starts. We didn't have Brocktober
and Chris McCaffrey.
We didn't have CMC, and we didn't have the Gravedigger. And so
I'll give it to you.
So that those things, definitely help. But I wasn't. I did pick us. I picked us to win, but I was not feeling real confident about it. I'll just say.
What are you nervous about? You said you're nervous with us.
Exactly that. Micah on McKivitz, Micah on Burford. Micah pass rushes from the inside too. Burford is not a very good pass blocker, and McKivitz is actually better than Burford. If you really want my weakness, it's right guard, not right tackle, or it's weaker. They're both weak. So the left side of the line is real good. The center, Brendel, not a great run blocker, but a very good pass blocker. It's the right side, right guard, right tackle is what I worry about. I worry about us not being able to get pressure on Dak and our secondary getting exposed. Just like I said, teams are already throwing on us more than any other defense. So if Dak has time, like we said, we know that if Dak gets under pressure, he can make mistakes, but he's only made one interception this year. So, I think that would be my fear, is that he gets a lot of time, or that, Pollard just goes off in the run game. But I think that's pretty far down my list of concerns.
I actually expect, we've been having some struggles in the red zone. So I've been a little spooky about that as well. Got to be able to get down in the red zone and score against you guys. So I'm just hoping that there's a great game plan from Mike McCarthy. And make no mistake, people think it's just Mike McCarthy calling the plays. No. His name is escaping me.
Who?
Our offensive coordinator. The second guy who's our offensive coordinator. I can't think of his name.
Me neither.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. It'll come to me. But make no mistake, he's helping Mike McCarthy call plays. It's not just Mike McCarthy. Bring on 11. Are you sure?
Bryant Culp. He has his own YouTube channel.
Culp?
Everybody check him out.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm not.
Are you 100% sure you want to bring on number 11?
No, because like when McKivitz struggled week 1, I was like, hey, he'll get better with experience.
Schottenheimer is his name.
Here's one of the problems McKivitz had. Like, I was worried about Bosa's holdout for Bosa's health. I was worried about it for Bosa's performance. And I was worried about it for our tackles' performance, because our tackles didn't get the iron sharpens iron in the offseason against Bosa. So maybe practicing these weeks has helped McKivitz. But if he plays like he did against the Steelers, we're in big trouble, on that right side of the line. I'll say that. I'll agree with you there.
Hey, Ted, Schottenheimer's his name.
Okay. Interesting.
So, he's helping Mike McCarthy call plays as well. So hopefully they have a solid game plan.
So this must be Marty's son then.
I think it's Brian.
Brian Schottenheimer. Okay, cool. Shotty. Yeah, he was with the the Seahawks, I believe.
That's before. That's my guy's name.
I think so. Rod Cali says, who guards Ayuk now that Diggs is out? I mean, I think we brought it up earlier. Bland and Gilmore, probably, right?
So I don't. Yeah, we'll likely. So it'll be Bland, and then like Jordan Lewis, is back there as well. I mean, Ayuk is more so out of the slot, right? So
no, Ayuk's a boundary.
He's a boundary guy. Okay, so who's out the slot for you guys?
It'll be Juwan Jennings, or maybe Ronnie Bell. I know we're so stacked. Bell the Bull. I don't know if you've seen him play, but he's kind of like Debo Jr.
I know. Damn. Oh God. Oh my God. Okay.
Well, we got the weapons, but you said pick your poison, and I'm thinking to myself, what do you do with a snake? You cut the head off a snake, and you could do that with pressure on Purdy. So,
that is the one thing. One thing that I will
concern.
say, my main thing is this. Pressure and controlling the time of possession is probably my biggest thing.
Right,
you can also keep the how do you cut the head off a snake? Yeah, how do you cut the head off a snake? You can also find a way to get away from it. We got to keep your offense on the sideline. Keep your offense on the sideline. We have to find a way to create long drives, run the ball, move the chains, pick up downs, and keep y'all's offense off the field, because it's a lot to deal with. That's a lot to deal with. I think that'll be something that's at the top of Mike McCarthy's priority list, is containing or controlling the time of possession and getting pressure on Brock Purdy. I think that's like, I don't know if we have like a third key to win, like a three, like, Young Heavy's 3 keys to victory. I don't think that we have 3. Absolutely. I think it's time of possession. It is putting pressure on Brock Purdy, because y'all are so good. And I hate to say it, it's making me nauseous. Like right now, I feel sick to my stomach. But y'all are a force. But my defense is coming. That's one thing I can't say. I trust in my defense. I trust in Dan Quinn. So, do y'all have any weaknesses on y'all? Like y'all special team fumbled on y'all last year.
Special teams has gotten a little better. We got Ray doing kick and punt return. We
got Ray
fumbled. Moody, yeah,
fumbled last year against us.
The young kicker out of Michigan, where Harbaugh said, 3 things you can count on this life: death, taxes, and Jake Moody. Bryant Culp, who's in the audience, is a huge Moody fan. On his YouTube channel, his overlay has 4 pictures of Moody, 2 from college and 2 from camp, all at all the edges of his overlay. So he's a huge Moody fan. He wore a Moody jersey to the home opener on Thursday night against the Giants. So Bryant Culp, shout out to Bryant Culp. He's probably the biggest Jake Moody fan I've ever seen. And he struggled a lot in the preseason, but then now he's perfect in the regular season.
Okay.
And it was weird with our first 3 games. We scored 30 points in every game.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we had 3 TDs, 3 field goals, and 3 PATs in every game.
Wow.
And Moody made them all. So they a lot of them didn't look real pretty. I'll admit that, but no pictures on the scorecard. I don't care as long as it goes through. Kind of like you. Ugly win's a win. Ugly field goal's a field goal. Same.
Rod Kelly said Purdy hits his hot route with the pressure coming. We open up our defense for explosive plays. Be careful, because the Giants did that. And how did that work? 310 yards. What are you talking about exactly? Me calling.
That was against the Giants, though. Against the Giants, who have basically Dexter.
And I'm not. And here's the deal: we get pressure without blitzing. We get pressure without blitzing. So if you're talking about bringing, is that what he's talking about? Bringing like blitz pressure? Because I'm just talking about Micah.
Yeah, this hot route means that somebody that was blitzing that opens up a hot route.
Yeah,
and people think it's tough, and it is, but it's also easy. And if you're good at it, you can pick a defense apart when they blitz you, because wherever the blitz came from, you basically just throw it back to that side, and someone is likely to be wide open
for sure
on that play. Yeah, I mean, I know that like Adoree Jackson went out in the second quarter, and in the second half, a bunch of Giants defenders went out too. So I don't even think, as bad as the Giants defense is, that it looked even worse against us, especially towards the end of that game. But
here's the thing: is that I know that he's top in the league as far as like pressures, blitzes and stuff. But I'm not talking about blitzing. I'm not talking about blitzing. Micah Parsons is a blitz on his own. That's what I'm talking about. Like, so that's the pressure I'm talking about. We don't have to. That's the beauty, is we can bring it. We don't have to, though. And number 11 can still get at you and make you feel like we blitzed. You know what I mean? So that's the beauty of having him, a Nick Bosa, a TJ Watt. You know what I'm saying? These kinds of guys that are just always headhunting for the quarterback. Always.
Transcendent edge players.
For sure. Always
along with Nicholas John, Bosa, and Myles Garrett. That's the 4 that they're just unarguably the best 4 edge players in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think one thing you can do though with Micah, and maybe we can take a page out of the Cards book, is run right at him. seems like that is an effective way to keep him from pass rushing.
Pass rushing is the run at him.
Run directly at him. We did it last year in the divisional round, and the Cards did it with James Conner. And obviously CMC is tearing it up, but he's not as big and physical as James Conner, though. James Conner will run over you. CMC is more likely to try and juke you a little bit. See, we got Moody is the real deal. There goes Bryant.
Alberto, I'm saying that you got to stop.
Matter. He says kickers are people too.
You got to stop Odigizua. You got to stop a couple folks.
No, and that's
also keep your
I think you guys have the best D line in football.
Keep your eye on Wanye Thomas as well. Listen out for that name.
I think the Cowboys have the best D line in football. I think you guys might have the best O line. If you've never seen these five together, and you guys are top three with just combinations of these guys, I think if Tyron Smith plays, we might see the best offensive line in football. Or maybe it's them, maybe it's the Eagles, maybe it's the Lions, but those are the top three. In a perfect world,
it would be Tyron. Adoga did better last week than he did against the Cardinals because he definitely got beat up bad against the Cardinals, Adoga, and that's our guy, but he got beat up bad against the Cardinals. Much better performance against a Bill Belichick-led defense, by the way. He had a much better performance last week against the Patriots.
No doubt. So let me do a quick commercial break here because I do have a new sponsor for the channel. And I should do a quick pitch. Thank you. Yeah, it's up in the corner. It's that TTG that you see there. It stands for the Travelstead Group, and it's basically a hospitality and retail logistics company. So it's like transportation and warehousing for brick and mortar, and then fixed furniture and equipment, which is FFE, operating sales, supplies and equipment, which is OSE programs. They do new store openings, rollouts, relocations, decommissions, third-party logistics from the first mile to the final mile and everywhere in between. Travelstead has you covered. Let us know how we can help you via air, ocean, and land. So, check them out, folks. Their link to their website is in the description of the show and in all my properties. It's in my bio on Twitter, my about on YouTube, also on Insta and Facebook. So it's obviously not consumer product. It's your business to business, retail, or hospitality. Check them out. Nick and Henry are great folks, and really proud to have them as my first sponsor of the channel. So thanks, everybody.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. So Frank Tom Ocean says Lamb's going to eat us up like last year and all the other slots, because we like I said, nickel is a concern now that Jimmy Ward is gone. He was, I think, one of the best nickels in the league, and now he's gone. Cap casualty.
Yeah. So, he had to bite the dust.
But it's not just CeeDee Lamb, because he was there last year, but now you guys added Brandon Cooks, and now Gallup is 100%. I think he was playing hurt last year, if I'm not mistaken. And isn't there someone else too that you guys like? Another weapon that I'm not as familiar with
offensively?
Well, there's like a new tight end. I think about
maybe Hunter Lipke we're talking about.
What's that?
It might be Hunter Lipke that we're talking about.
Oh well, yeah, Hunter Lipke, Ninerland. We really liked him. We thought the Niners would draft him. Out of North Dakota State, just like Trey Lance, who now is a Cowboy. That's interesting. We should probably talk about that for a minute when we get a chance. But I mean, a lot of people thought he could be the heir apparent to Juszczyk. I think we went with Jack Coletto out of Oregon State because he's like more well-rounded and he's like more like a football player, like more polished. But like Lepke is like the athletic freak who has the higher ceiling, who could turn out to be a star, whereas Coletto will probably never be a superstar.
Those last couple of preseason games, we were really happy that Lepke came out of his shell just in time to make the 53-man roster, because he's a dog, and he's honestly a key to a lot of our issues, specifically for me in the red zone. He has every ability to be a red zone threat. And he's good. Rico Dowdle is good. Pollard is still looking stout. Deuce Vaughn. I'm interested in seeing how we'll use Deuce Vaughn.
That's your new rookie running back, right?
Yeah. People were pretty upset with Deuce Vaughn this past game. But hopefully he has a bounce back game this week. And again, we won by 35 points, and people were still like, at a certain point in that Patriots game, we were just looking to like, okay, how do we make sure that we do the right thing for next week? So yeah, we have some pieces, man. We have some weapons as well. I do not want to be dismissive of my squad. We have weapons, and CeeDee Lamb is definitely stepping into that wide receiver one. Again, like you mentioned, Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup is 100% healthy. He is back. So I expect Dak to like take a couple more shots down the field. He didn't do that. He hasn't been doing that much because we've been doing this West Coast, Texas Coast offense where the routes are, the throws are shorter, quicker. So I want to see some deep shots down the field, especially if that means, especially because we can expose y'all's defense, y'all secondary the way you say we can.
Yeah, Ambry Thomas and Isaiah Oliver are exposable, in my opinion. Nickel corner on base downs, and then when Lenore moves to nickel on nickel, then we bring in Ambry Thomas as our boundary corner. I think so. There's at least one in either setup that is beatable. So somebody was saying something about we scheme Aaron Donald out of the game. But the problem is, like, Aaron Donald is by himself on that Rams defense. Micah still has DeMarcus Lawrence, the Sam Williams guy, Osa.
There you go. You did
it. It's something like that. Yeah. Osa, then they, obviously they've got.
Like I said, keep your eye on Y.A. Thomas.
Y.A. Thomas.
Y.A. Thomas. I'll let you see.
Y.A.
Okay. Keep your eye on Y.A. Thomas as well. Listen, our defensive room is incredible, and what makes it even better about our defense is that our depth is crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's why, listen, Trayvon going out was a huge deal, but we are so confident in the depth, being Deron Bland, Nahshon Wright, Jordan Lewis, like Y.A. Thomas. Like, we have guys on this like squad. We have guys on this squad that can really step in when necessary. Like, that next man up thing for the defense is a real thing. Like, Dan Quinn has taken that very serious over the last couple of years. So while we were like shook when Trayvon went down, if you notice, there wasn't a big amount of panic. Because real individuals that's following know that our depth is definitely something, to
Yeah, no, that's huge because
look at.
We don't have much depth on our defense. Now, what we do have, here's one thing, though, that's changed since last year. So I talked about the negatives. Obviously, Hargrave I talked about is a real big addition. The other one that a lot of people were surprised by, unless people like me who went to camp were not as surprised by, was Kinlaw, because he, in camp, I went to all 9 open practices, and our best player in camp was Ayuk, and look what he's doing. And our second best player was Kinlaw, and he is playing really, really well. I said, like, after camp, I'm like, I could see him being our best defensive rotational player on the D line. And he's so good that we basically started doing bear fronts where we're playing 5 D line, Fred, and 5 DBs behind. So keep an eye out for Kinlaw too. Like, I know you guys improved your D tackles.
Yeah,
we definitely have too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because he was just always injured before. He had this knee, and he had arthritis, and his ACL was frayed, and he finally went to Ella Troch. It was before last season, before the 2022 season, but he like still was having issues with it last season, and now he's like 100% healthy and then lost some weight, and he's finally playing. I mean, maybe not up to like the 14th overall where we drafted him, but to see why people thought he might be worth that type of a draft spot. So
yeah,
and D tackles a lot of times take years to develop in this league. It's one of the slower developing positions. You get your Aaron Donalds, you get your DeForest Buckners, Vita Veas, who come in, but those are the exceptions to the rule. Usually a lot of times it takes 2-3 years for those guys to blossom, especially when 1 or 2 of the years he didn't really play much because of injuries. I know we're short on time here. In fact, we're pretty much out of time. So what happened with the Cardinals, Steve-O? The Cowboys were missing 80% of their O-line, and Diggs went out the Thursday before. They had no time to adjust. So it was a very unusual situation. And, different weeks, different teams play different ways.
It happens. It happens. But that's the only thing that irritates me a bit with Dallas is when we lose these kind of games, it creates doubt. But when other teams, I was going to say the Chiefs, I'm gonna sit that one out. But when there are other teams of a certain status that lose to teams they're not supposed to lose to, nobody turns a blind eye to that. Buffalo was not supposed to lose that first game
to the Jets, and even and especially now with Aaron Rodgers going out on the first series.
For sure. Yeah. They weren't supposed to lose that game. You found a way to win that game, but faith has not wavered with the Bills and Josh Allen for some reason. I mean, just that's coincidentally, faith hasn't wavered there.
He's and the second best quarterback in the NFL. That's why.
Yeah, well, they're sitting at 3-1, just like Dallas.
Yeah. No, that's why I got them.
And again, the Bills always start off good. They always start off good. Their years always start off good. So I don't know.
Yeah. Good point. All right. Anyway. Yeah, so I know you got to get going. So should we? You did your score position. You said 27.
I'm going 27-24 Cowboys in a walk-off kickoff. I mean, walk-off field goal
with the new kicker from Notre Dame. That's what Greg said too. I think
the kicker wins it at the end.
That's what Greg said too. He said 24-21. I just flipped it. I'm just going to say 24-21 Niners. But good luck. Let's hope for a great game and no injuries. And if you want to commit to doing a show next week, I'm happy to commit now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. We can definitely set it up for sure.
All right. Well, just let me know.
Having me on, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure as always, Ashley. You're wonderful. And thanks a million. And I'll just say peace and go Niners. And if you want to give us a how about them boys or whatever you guys say.
How about them Cowboys?
There you go. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Ed.
Peace.